Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm a dedicated Miley Cyrus fan. Tell me, do you have your own idols? Raise your hand if you're like me. Great! Have you ever met one of your idols in person? No? Well, I personally met Miley Cyrus once. Do you want to know how it happened? Listen to my story. I've liked Miley since childhood. I fell in love when I saw one of her first music videos. It was like a bright sparkle. It seemed like in that moment something inside me changed. I wanted to surround myself with Miley as much as possible. The walls in my room were all covered with her portraits. I knew her every song by heart. I started dressing like her, and I even changed my haircut so it would look like hers. She changed her appearance, and so did I. When I finished school, some slight resemblance wasn't enough for me. I wanted to look just like her. So I did a couple of plastic surgeries, because then the resemblance would be perfect. You'd think I was crazy, but it gave my life meaning. I even started talking like Miley, behaving like her, and maybe even thinking like her. And then, something that I really wanted happened. Miley Cyrus had a concert in our city. I was over the moon, but it was not enough for me to just buy a ticket and see the show. Most of all, I wanted to meet Miley in person. What chances did I have? Of course, none. Security, managers, producers, none of them would let me see her. And then, I had a genius idea. The only person they wouldn't be able to restrain from entering Miley Cyrus's dressing room was Miley Cyrus herself. I dressed up like her, did my makeup and my hairstyle just like hers. And looking like that, I went to the club right before the concert. To my surprise, the security let me in with no questions. I was going through the club, and the guards were stepping aside to let me pass. They thought I was Miley Cyrus. My plan worked. So, I got to the dressing room with Miley Cyrus on the door. My heart was racing. I opened the door and entered. Nobody was inside, except for her belongings. With unbelievable trepidation, I started going through them, imagining that they were mine. I got so carried away that I didn't even notice how the door behind me opened and she entered. The real Miley Cyrus! She noticed me and asked, "It seems you got lost?" I turned around and she saw me. Miley was very surprised. Her copy was standing right in front of her. And I couldn't say a thing. I just stared at my idol, smiling. Miley broke the silence. She asked me what my name was and why I looked just like her. We talked for like 10 minutes. I was happier than I had ever been. I was talking to Miley Cyrus. In the end, she suddenly asked me, "Ashley, would you like to be me sometimes?" I didn't understand what she was getting at. Then Miley explained. She had a very tight schedule, and there wasn't enough time for everything. So, she asked me to take her place at some of the events. Oh my goodness! I've never even dreamed of that! Of course I agreed. It was so cool to be Miley Cyrus herself, even for just a while. Anyway, that day was like a gift to me. So many things happened, so many emotions. Naturally, in the evening, I got to bed and fell asleep instantly. I dreamed of Miley, and it was such a wonderful dream. The next couple of days I spent as if I was still in a dream. I was impressed by the encounter, and I just couldn't believe it had really happened. A phone call brought me out of my trance. It was her! Miley was talking to me on a phone. She said that she had an autograph session this evening, and she couldn't make it in time. And she asked if I wanted to give the autographs instead of her. Of course I did. I sure did. I wish you could see the crowd that gathered in the club to get the autographs. When they saw me, they began screaming. Of course they did. I was basically indistinguishable from the real Miley. It was so pleasant. For a minute, I even forgot that it was for her fans, not mine. I was giving autographs and listening to how cool I was and how much they loved me. It was so awesome! And I was so thankful to Miley for letting me be her for a while. After a couple of days, she again called me and said she had a radio interview and that, again, she couldn't make it. "Ashley, can you be me once more and talk to the listeners?" That was a bit more difficult than a usual autograph session where I only had to write good wishes to the fans. On the radio, I had to talk like Miley Cyrus and think about what she would answer. The task was harder, but also a lot more interesting, and I agreed so happily. I have to say that the interview went perfect. Nobody even suspected that I wasn't the real Miley. I was speaking so convincingly that I myself believed I was the real Miley Cyrus. I was the true one, and all the fans, all the glory and the popularity, they were mine too. Time passed, and I stopped being myself. I was Miley. I introduced myself as her, talked in her voice, and believed that her life was mine. Miley called me again a couple of times, asking me to cover for her, and I did it gladly. Hell, she didn't even need to ask. I was ready to live the life of Miley Cyrus 24/7. But one day, unexpectedly, she disappeared. Miley Cyrus stopped calling me. When I tried to call her myself, the voicemail told me that the number wasn't supported anymore. What happened? Was she all right? I watched all the news about Miley every day, but there wasn't anything unusual in them. Miley had 3 more concerts, appeared on the autograph session, modeled for the cover of fashion magazines. Now, she was doing everything by herself. And then it hit me. Miley Cyrus was afraid that I would replace her, take away her glory and her popularity. Why, I might as well. For a couple of weeks, I was still waiting for her to call me, but she didn't. I began missing the popularity. I missed the admiring looks and the compliments from all the fans. How could she do this to me? I deserved all of that. I'm the real Miley Cyrus. All of it was mine. So, I made the fan club of Miley Cyrus and started talking with the admirers. I was a star again. I was admired, I was envied, and I was a role model for thousands of people. I gave interviews on media outlets, filmed TikTok videos, and I took part in charity events. I wasn't afraid to be exposed, because I was the real Miley Cyrus, and I believed it. Well, what do you think happened next? Maybe I was caught by the police? Or Miley Cyrus herself came to expose me? Sorry to disappoint you, but nothing like that happened. I was living the life of Miley Cyrus, enjoying the attention, but gradually the attention started to go away. The number of fans was declining, and I was being invited to interviews less and less, and the internet videos weren't being watched at all. Of course, initially I was disappointed. I couldn't understand the connection. Why was this happening to me? I was an almost ideal Miley Cyrus. But then I realized that I wasn't the problem. The popularity of the real Miley Cyrus was declining. The showbiz world is cruel, and it's very hard to stay on top. It'll always be taken by the younger and more talented generations. Moreover, every day there's a new trend. Gradually, I was becoming a usual girl again. I stopped dressing like Miley and doing my makeup like her. I was listening to her songs less and less frequently. They seemed so simple and uninteresting to me. What happened? Did I just get over my addiction to Miley Cyrus? My soul felt so empty. But then, one more time, I heard a song of an unknown female singer. It was like a bomb blowing up inside of me. I instantly fell in love with her. Then, I listened to another song from the artist, and then another, and then another. They just enraptured me. I couldn't stop. But who was singing these songs? I googled her name, and I saw a girl with green hair. She was so cool. I immediately wanted to learn everything about her, to surround myself with her, to speak to her. I'd found somebody worth living for. It was Billie Eilish. All of the Miley Cyrus posters were stashed in the attic, and images of Billie took their place. I was listening to her songs day and night, watching all videos with her on the internet. I wanted to look like her. I changed my haircut, and I colored my hair. I got clothes just like hers. I'd learned to do my makeup just like her too. But looking at myself in the mirror, I still only saw Miley Cyrus. And so, I realized I'd have to turn to plastic surgery again. I had to become the real Billie Eilish. And that's my story. Now I'm collecting money for a plastic surgery, and I'm getting ready to look like my idol again. Maybe she'll come to my city, and I'll be able to sneak into her dressing room before the concert. Who knows what'll happen next? Truth be told, the surgeon who did my operation told me to think it over, because it wouldn't make me happy. He says I didn't have my own personality, and I would always look for someone who could fill my emptiness. What a fuss he's making. I don't believe him. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comments. And also, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. You know, I need to be popular. I have to become the real Billie Eilish and live her life.